let me set this up for you. I have just offered 3 people and their families a free, all expenses paid trip to a destination of their choice. That's the sort of guy I am. Their names are Mo, Larry, and Curly. I actually asked AI to come up with 3 fictional names, and that's what I got. But I digress. The first stage of anger is the trigger response, where something or someone has activated a response that initiates anything from euphoria and excitement to frustration and depression. Now, triggers can be external events, situations, or even internal thoughts or memories. Other examples of triggers can include something like receiving a disrespectful comment from a colleague at work, being selected to represent your country in your chosen sport, or even receiving a traffic ticket when already running late. Now, I want you to picture this. In this instance, you just received the news that you are going to go to a destination of your choice. I want you to think about what emotions are you experiencing. Now, don't forget, it's a no holds barred. It is all expenses paid. There's nothing to pay up front. Gerald is going to be paying lock, stock, and barrel. What are you feeling right now? I'm guessing you'd be pretty excited. So Mo, Larry, and Curly race home to their respective partners to relay the news. Next is the initial reaction. Now, it's at this stage where it involves an immediate and instinctive response to the trigger. It typically includes a surge of adrenaline and physiological changes. Some of those examples may be feeling an immediate rush of excitement upon hearing the offer, resulting in an increased heart rate. Now, let's put this into perspective. Firstly, Larry isn't keen on the idea of a free trip, as he enjoys the comfort of his own home and feels that he would rather have the money so that he can spend it on whiskey while he sits in front of his TV watching Judge Judy and Bonanza. I don't know why that makes me laugh. Curly is excited because one of the reasons he and his family got vaccinated was so that he and his family could have the ability to travel, and they had prepared for this for many years. He wants to go to Iceland to visit his 90-year-old father. Tickets have been booked and they leave in 1 week. Now let's look at Mo on the other hand. He is so full of excitement and he exclaims to his partner and kids when he gets home, he says, "Pack your bags, troops, we're off to Santorini." And without any hesitation, they all jump online with my credit card details and begin to enter the details for flights, accommodation, and transfer all the way to Athens and then onwards to Santorini. Now, Mo is just popping in the pronouns, the names, and the date of birth of all the members, and then he gets to the stage where he's putting in the passport number, and he just recalls, "Oh, passport number." Mo says to his partner, "Quick, get me the passport." "Passport?" Mrs. Mo exclaims. She says, "I know where mine and the kids are, but where did you put yours? Remember, you had that business trip to New Zealand pre-COVID. Where did you put it after that?" Mo starts to get this sinking feeling that he has no idea, but without panicking, he rallies the troops around on the hunt for the misplaced passport. Now, this stage is called the many parts of realization, reality, and expression. This stage involves the outward expression of minor discomfort, frustration, anxiety, or even despair, which can be either constructive or destructive. Now, for some reason, it's up to Mrs. Mo to engage in a calm and assertive conversation with Mo to address the situation. And it goes something like this. "Well, Mo, where do you think you might have put it?" And he responds, "If I knew, I'd have it in my hands." "Okay, let's just retrace your steps. What bags did you take and what clothes were you wearing?" "I'm not an elephant. What sort of memory do you think I have?" Mrs. Mo then slowly retreats out of the room and continues to search for the missing passport. Now, Mo starts yelling and using aggressive language towards the persons whom he thinks is responsible for the act of this injustice. Now, do you notice how Mo is blaming his partner for his incompetence? Mrs. Mo then yells from the office, "Found it!" And suddenly there is relief from Mo, as he can now start to see that his dream of a holiday in the Greek islands is starting to come true. So he jumps back onto the online booking form to type in his passport number, only to realize, yep, you guessed it, it's expired. And without a moment's hesitation, he turns to Mrs. Mo and blames her for not reminding him to renew his passport. Again, it seems to be up to Mrs. Mo to engage in a calm and assertive conversation with Mo to address this next hurdle. And it goes something like this. Mo says, "Why didn't you remind me that I had to renew my passport?" Mrs. Mo says, "Well, I didn't know it was up for renewal." Mo then says angrily, "I'm out every day working hard making comedy skits with Larry and Curly. I haven't got time to do stuff like this. You always organise the holidays. You should have known." And Mrs. Mo calmly says, "Honey, the trip isn't for another 10 days. Let's just call the passport office and get it renewed." Again, suddenly there is relief from Mo as he can now start to see that his dream of a holiday in the Greek islands is going to come true. All it takes is a drive to the post office, get an up-to-date photo, attach it to a form, and then post it. I mean, how hard can that be? Then a quick Google search reveals that it's going to take a minimum of 6 weeks for Mo to get a passport. Mo now elevates his intensity of anger and temperament, and this stage involves the degree to which anger is felt and expressed. Mo is either feeling mildly annoyed and expressing displeasure through his facial expressions or body language in response to hearing the news, or he may be experiencing intense rage, shouting loudly, throwing objects, or becoming physically aggressive in response to a perceived betrayal. Mo now transfers his anger from his partner to the telephonist on the other end of the line, who now has to deal with Mo's rage and his perceived injustice. You see how this works? It's everyone else's fault for Mo's incompetence and embarrassment, and we are the ones that have to deal with his unreasonable conduct. And this is where professionals like myself are contracted to give assistance with high-level quality phrases to de-escalate Mo's rage. The reality is Mo will not be going to Santorini overlooking the Mediterranean. He will be getting Instagram posts from Curly in Iceland, and maybe he can visit Larry in his home to watch reruns of Judge Judy and Bonanza. Time has now passed, and it may be a week, a month, or years after Mo's initial expression of anger. He may reflect on his emotions and consider the consequences of what he did and how he handled it. He may be adult enough to realize that the disrespectful comments he made to his partner and telephonist was unnecessary, and he was only thinking about himself and how lucky he was to even have been gifted this opportunity. And his only coping mechanism in dealing with personal stresses was to go below the line. Remember that? Blame, excuses, denial. And on reflection, he now knows that he could have been more respectful. He may also recognize that verbal and physical aggression during an argument can cause harm, and he may be seeking healthier ways to manage his anger, such as attending anger management classes. The last and final stage involves finding a resolution to the underlying issue or conflict that triggered the anger in the first place. Having a constructive conversation with people to establish better communication and understanding is one step, and taking steps to address the perceived injustice may also help. It's important to note that these stages are not always linear, and individuals may skip or repeat stages based on their emotional and psychological responses. It's also crucial to handle anger in a healthy and productive manner by seeking professional help if anger-related issues persist or escalate. Now, the last I heard was that Mrs. Mo and the kids had, for the very first time, fresh cooked octopus in a restaurant in Ia, and Larry is giving Mo a hard time about not renewing his passport.